it was a blowout. We were getting killed, and we came back.
What was behind that dance?
This was when Fenerbahce fans hated me.
That's actually a very dangerous play.
The crazy thing about that whole thing was nobody was punished for anything. I blacked out. I was just wanted to yell at anybody.
Hey everyone, this is BasketNews Film Session. I'm the host Donatas Urbanas, and this time I'm joined by Fenerbahce Istanbul guard Scottie Wilbekin. Hello, Scottie.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Scottie, personally, I love this format because it helps to rewind the great careers of our greatest EuroLeague players. And, we kind of get used to your signature moves, to you scoring 20-plus point games and stuff. But when you watch the, all-time scorers lists, or when you watch some of the highlights of your career, it's just incredible experience. And I hope that we're gonna take our fans as well through the experience of Scottie Wilbekin explaining some of your signature moves and some interesting highlights of your career. So let's start with some fresh stuff.
Okay.
And the fresh stuff happened in Istanbul against Bayern Munich.
He played pretty good defense on that one. I was trying to get by. It was a tie game, so didn't need a 3 or a 2, but I saw the shot clock going down, and I knew I had to create some space at the last second. Was able to create it and jump high enough to where he couldn't contest.
This is a perfect angle from the beginning of the possession to actually break down the way you saw this whole situation. Can you take us through that last possession? Because at first you asked for the pick, right?
Yeah, it started with Spanish pick and roll, which we had been running most of the fourth quarter. Been working for us. They were switching, and Bab's a pretty good defender, so it would have been nice to get him off of me, whether it was no matter who it was.
And what you're trying to do in this situation, in this case?
The first couple of dribbles lull him to sleep a little bit. So he doesn't know which way I'm going, but he cut me off pretty good there. And I tried to go left, and he cut me off again.
And he tries to block your right, right?
Yeah. I don't think they wanted me going right. He played, it's great defense, really.
From 1 to 10, how would you rate Opst's defense in this sequence? Yeah.
About an 8 or 9.
Okay.
There's not much better you can play it.
We have Beyond Plus community, fans who can subscribe BasketNews.com content on BasketNews.com/plus, and there we provide an opportunity to address questions to our interviewees. And one of those guys was Johannes Meves, and he's from Germany, and he had just this simple question: what's wrong between you and Bayern Munich that you always decide to just wake up and kill them?
I have no idea. I have no answer.
Have you been ever offered to them and they rejected to sign you, or something that has to be personal?
It's nothing personal. I actually saw I think their team Twitter posted something
exactly
after the game. It's just a coincidence. Honestly, it's just a coincidence.
Is there anything in particular what you try to make before pulling off your signature move? Let's say, how do you try to create your space?
Just to get them to step back a little bit. I would say that's the most important thing, because if whatever way I'm going, if I can get them to take a step back, I can sidestep to the right, take a kind of a push dribble to the left, or a step back to the left, or a behind the back, pull back. Either of those, if I can get the defender to be on his heels a little bit,
okay,
then it makes all of those so much easier.
I also received another question, and one of our BN Plus community members asked you to compare Itudis and Sharas, but I tried to change the question. How they would have approached this possession?
There was no timeout before this play.
Yeah.
It's kind of up to us players if there's no timeout. Yeah, it's kind of tough to say, because we just kept on doing what we were doing the whole fourth quarter. So, if I was hot like this, I would say that it would be the same outcome no matter who the coach is.
Okay, let's say that there was a timeout. What do you expect from Blatt, from Sferopoulos, Sharas, and Itudis?
I will say that I've been very impressed with Sharas' timeout plays.
Okay.
It seems like he always has like has them in his back pocket, and he just brings them out. Like he knows who's on the court, and he does a good job of putting us in situations where we end up having open shots. So I'm sure it would have been some good play to get open shot.
I checked through the history books, and you're already top 20 in all-time scorers list in the EuroLeague. Top 20 already. And I checked just American players and American guards. So there's Mike James on the top right now, Shane Larkin is second, and you're third. And the only other American player that makes, let's say, top 3 in total is Kyle Hines, but let's say he's a big man.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was just wondering, having those two guys above the list and just, you know, comparing you as the scorers, the players, you share a lot of similar things. And I just wanted to hear from your side, you know, how do you see yourself different? Where do you differ from Shane Larkin and Mike James? Where do you see similarities? What would you like to pick up from their game, and where do you see that you have an advantage over them?
I mean, if I could pick things, that would be great. Just add to my game. I would say both of them are probably a little bit more physical than me. They tend to shoot more twos than me, drive in more than me. I'm more of I like to shoot threes as my number one option. We are pretty similar in the fact that all three of us can get open shots off the dribble from the three and hit a pretty good percentage of them.
And there was actually the question from BN Plus member Barish, who do you see, except from you, who do you see the best off-dribble shooter in the EuroLeague? That's a tough one, I think.
It is a tough one. I mean, Mike James obviously comes to mind. Even though he wasn't on that list, Kevin Punter, a great off-the-dribble shooter, and obviously Shane. La Providola.
Okay.
It's hard to pick one, but if I had to pick one, I would probably say Mike.
I think it's the second most viewed video of Scottie Wilbekin on YouTube. If you type Scottie Wilbekin, this is the second video that you will get.
Wow. I wasn't even supposed to play in this game.
Probably.
I had a fractured thumb, so I wasn't expecting to play. No, this was just funny. I had so much adrenaline playing the USA, and for most of the game, I was on the bench because like I wasn't supposed to play, and I was just cheering the guys on, you know, and then we got down by, I think, like 20, and the coach was just like, all right, get you in there because you're going to play next game, you know, get some reps. And then we went on a run, and the adrenaline increased from that point. And I don't know what got into me here.
What is it like to play against Team USA?
It was weird, I'm not going to lie, but I've obviously watched all these players. And you could say that this wasn't one of the best USA teams. Like, I would have loved to play against, like, Steph and LeBron, KD. But it was still an amazing experience. And almost winning made it even better.
By the way, we had a question from Beyond Plus member, and it was an interesting one. Let's say, with all your experience, after your playing years, you're replacing Grant Hill, who runs a Team USA program, and you have to build Team USA roster. What would be your idea, giving your experience of international basketball, giving your experience of knowing FIBA rules, what it takes to be successful on FIBA course? What would you do different from, let's say, last Team USA?
I just think some of the players on the USA team are playing roles that they're not that used to. So I would bring more role players, have like maybe like 3 or 4 like legit stars, and bring players who are more used to not being the main guy. I think that would help in building a better team.
Yeah. By the way, what's your situation with the Turkish national team right now? Is there any chance that you're gonna wear Turkish national team jersey again?
I mean, I hope so, but as it stands right now, I would say no. But I think we're still in the process, and when I say we, I mean like me and Fenerbahce, we're trying to appeal it. I know Shane is probably doing the same thing, but
Is there any light in the end of the tunnel? I mean, what's the latest, let's say, development, which is important for the Turkish league as well, not just for your potential future in the national team?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard any news for a while. It's just unfortunate, man, that we get punished for being injured and trying to take care of our bodies. Every time I think about it, I get upset.
Scottie Wilbekin is hitting a game winner. Okay, wow, what's this?
This was actually against David Blatt, too.
Okay, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he was the coach.
Yeah, David Blatt is on the sidelines. Okay.
I wasn't supposed to play this game either.
Okay, why?
This was one of the games because it was a preseason and all the guys that weren't on guaranteed contracts, we would like trade games. And I wasn't supposed to play, but it was a blowout. We were getting killed. And so they subbed me and like 2 other guys that weren't supposed to play. And we came back.
What was behind that dance celebration?
No, that was when everybody was dabbing. So I figured I'd hit the dab too.
Well, it was 8 years ago. Okay.
Oh, man.
And I remember I had a conversation with a few NBA people, and they said that like a few years ago, you were on the NBA team's radar. You never made it to the NBA, and there are, I would say, a lot of other EuroLeague players who could make it to the NBA and who could be good. What do you think? What is the main mistake of the NBA people? What they overlook the most, and what would be your advice? You know, how guys like you, like some other EuroLeague scorers, players, or whatever, could make the league and could be actually beneficial in the NBA basketball.
I think that the European game is harder. Everything about it is just more difficult. There's less space, so you have to be smarter, pick your spots. I think that teams would do well if they looked more at the European market, but I think it all comes down to them wanting to have the next best big thing, and that translates to passing up on some players who are in their prime and could be better than a young guy who possibly could be great in a few years. But that's just the way it goes for now.
This is a clip about young Scottie Wilbekin, young, hot Scottie Wilbekin, I would say. I mean, I checked stats. It has to be one of the most dominant EuroCup season. I remember you averaged like 32 points in 2 EuroCup semifinal games against Bayern Munich. In the finals, you also averaged 26 points against Lokomotiv. Darüşşafaka wins the EuroCup. What do you remember the most about this crazy Scottie Wilbekin hitting like 10 threes, scoring 41 points against Bayern?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I couldn't miss that game. But the thing I remember most is after the game, I was talking with Coach Blatt, and he told me that he hasn't seen like somebody take over a game like that since he was coaching Kyrie Irving. And he's seen Kyrie Irving do it.
Okay.
And I thought that was one of the best compliments that I've ever gotten in my career. So
I mean, you're taking Steph Curry shots, basically. Okay, it was a late clock situation, but still. Yeah. The basket looked like a pool to you probably that night.
Yeah.
And the whole season, basically. I had a question before this video, but I put it in our show because this is the most watched clip on YouTube of Scottie Wilbekin. Almost 300,000 views.
This is when Fenerbahce fans hated me.
And if I understood it correctly, it was one of those fights with Bobby Dixon, right? Or it was just this one, let's say, scuffle situation or conflict?
I mean, this was really the only fight. I wouldn't even say this was a fight. It's just we were talking. But yeah, the year before this was my first year at Dhaka, and we got beat by Fenerbahce 7 times. So I didn't really like Fenerbahce that much.
That's actually a very dangerous play, man. He headbutted you.
Yeah. The crazy thing about that whole thing was nobody was punished for anything except one of our players got a tech that wasn't even on the court. because he subbed in, or not subbed in, like
he entered the court, maybe?
He entered the court, and a ref actually waved him onto the court, but then, like, the fight happened, and they were like, why is he on the court? They looked back at it, and they gave him a tech. I couldn't believe it, but I went off after this, and we won the games.
The funny part is that instead of going after Bobby Dixon, you decided to go after Jan Vesely, the highest guy on the floor.
I blacked out. I was just wanted to yell at anybody. I couldn't believe that the refs didn't call a tech for the headbutt, though. That's what I was most mad at.
Maybe we didn't have replay system. I don't know. That's really weird. Nowadays they would take like 5 minutes to look at this clip during the game. How was this transition for you from somebody being Fener's hater and also being one of Fener fans' enemies to now one of the heroes? You know, we watched you hitting that potential game winner against Bayern. It was a good illustration of the change that happened.
Yeah, this was my second year in Darüşşafaka, and I really didn't like Fener. But in the next year, I was playing good, and I was like, okay, there was rumblings that I might get the Turkish passport, and so I was like, there's only 2 EuroLeague teams in Turkey, Efes or Fenerbahce. I think maybe I should play nice with the Fenerbahce fans, so I tried to be like political and be nice after this. And I mean, who knows, maybe that's why I'm here now, but I think it worked out well from how much animosity there was. There was one fan who I always remember. He sits kind of behind the away team's bench, and he's always yelling. He was always yelling at me. And my first game in Fenerbahce, I went to him like before the game started, and I dapped him up, and he was like, Scottie, welcome. And so I think we're good now, because he was probably my biggest hater, but now we're cool. We're cool now.
He has the same seat in the gym?
Always. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. One clip, I thought that this one was pretty interesting one. You got some moves, man.
After games were special there. This would happen almost after every game. Yeah, I don't know. They got me feeling good. They got me to dance.
4 great years in Maccabi. When you left, did you have this feeling that there was some unfinished business that you left?
Kind of, but it kind of faded away, because my second year there, we had a really good team, and I think we would have made the Final Four that year. That was when COVID first happened. I think we were in 4th or 5th place at the time, but we had a lot of injuries that year, and we still were able to be in that position. And then the next year, the team wasn't the same. I was hoping that we would kind of reload with the same roster, but we didn't do that because of some injuries and just some different decisions that were made. And then the year after that, they were both kind of just disappointing years. I really wanted to make the Final Four because I knew how much it would mean to the city and all the fans. So yeah, you could say yes to answer your question, but I'm really happy that I was able to spend 4 years there and have a lot of great memories that I'll always remember from there.
You're with Fenerbahce right now. You're 30 years old. What's the highlight that you're missing in this whole film session?
Celebrating the EuroLeague championship. That's the one thing that I want. Yeah, no, I'll do anything to get that. The main goal is to get to the Final Four, which I've also never been to, and then anything can happen from that point.
Okay, Scott, I wish that one day we will rewind that Final Four clip, you celebrating the EuroLeague title, maybe with Fenerbahce.
I hope so.
Thanks a lot for this film session.
Thank you.